as you would see from some of those slides and some of that footage, that there weren't too many people around. What has happened in the last 12 years? When we see things like this, where we see that a photograph like this has appeared on every newspaper on the planet. It was earlier on in May, it was around the 23rd of May, it was the same day that I had summited 12 years before, where people were lining in queues and lines to get there, stepping over each other. A major catastrophe. And unfortunately, the Nepalese government are not going to change things, definitely not next year, maybe the year thereafter. Right now, the permit fee alone, not logistics costs, the permit fee is $11,000 a climber. They're not going to turn that away that easily. They're not going to restrict numbers. They might increase the permit fee, and I have it on good authority that's what's going to happen in 2021. But next year is a big tourist year in Nepal, and unfortunately we're going to have numbers again. But just to put this into perspective, this is what it was like 2 days after that pic was taken. So what happened? Why on that particular day did we have hundreds of people pushing for the summit, and a few days later these sorts of numbers pushing for the summit? What happens in base camp is there's often a collaboration amongst logistics teams, amongst team leaders, where we agree that we're going to try and push on a particular day if we know we have a fairly extended weather window, because that's the big challenge. But at that time, there was going to be 4 or 5 days of fairly good weather. Teams had agreed that this is what they would do. But what happens and what dominates is what I like to call summit fever. Expeditioners and climbers who've spent their life savings to be there, somewhere upwards of $60,000 US, when they see and have an opportunity to get to the summit, they will do anything. And it is the age of commercialism, unfortunately, but they could have selected a slightly different opportunity. This is the same pic, the same location as you saw just 2 pics earlier, just a few days later. And so this is about management. This is about working together and collaborating. And we run a big expedition next year. I'm privileged to be able to say that we are looking after the first all-woman South African Everest expedition. Isn't that cool? Really, really nice. I'm very, very excited about that. There are currently 4 women. They're all Johannesburg based. There's the possibility there might be a 5th lady joining. And we're very excited about that. And we're actually going to be responsible for looking after their logistics. So we're working hard with them. We go to Mont Blanc later in September. We go to South America in December, January, and then we're off to Nepal. And they're asking me those questions. How are we going to be managing that? And it is about working closely with the people on the mountain at the time, because we can avoid those situations. This is a debate that we could spend hours on. The whole question of commercialization, the whole question of what the press love to grab onto and expand and make a big noise about. For example, waste and pollution on the mountain. There have been times when I've been there have been very few people up at Camp 2 and no waste at all. The unfortunate thing is that, yes, with climate change and with global warming, some of what used to be covered in snow from those old expeditions in the 1950s and 60s, when waste disposal was not even a thing, not even something to think about, some of that waste is being revealed. It's been shown. And there have been expeditions, their sole responsibility has been to get onto the mountain and to clean the mountain. Lots and lots of waste has been removed. As a team, we pay a deposit, we pay a fund to the ministry's office, which is non-refundable if we do not come back with a certain amount of waste, in addition to our own waste, and that includes human waste. So everything is coming off the mountain nowadays. But the press don't often, that's not a story that they want to be telling, so often. But I'm there to give you some of that inside scoop and to say that I do believe there's hope. I do think that we can have this kind of an experience on the mountain. And this kind of an experience. I had that opportunity, and I think it can be done. It just needs some very careful management, and unfortunately we don't have any more time to really explore that and to spend time. But this is a name you want to watch for. This is my organization that's going to be looking after these ladies, and we're very proud of that, and that's us some years ago on the summit with some of our staff, the unsung heroes of the Himalaya, the Sherpa people. I haven't mentioned much of them, but they are wonderful, wonderful human beings. We've dealt with the same team for the last 10 or 12 years. They've become really close friends. We've had some of them actually visit us here in Cape Town. We really take care of them. We assist some of them with the education of their children and with their own skills in developing their own climbing ability. And it's a wonderful project. And we're very proud to be associated with them. And so we've been to the summit, but you've got to get back down again. The statistics are, there were 15 people that died this year, and if you look at the numbers, the statistics have got a little bit better. But it's all very well getting to the summit, but you've got to get back down again. And the statistics are quite scary, is that in an Everest expedition, those who push for the summit, 1 in 4 will make it. Of those who do make it, 1 in 20 will not make it back down alive again. So those are scary, scary stats. They're getting better, I'm pleased to say. And so as we descend, of course, the views are just magnificent. And, I put this in there really to remind myself that when things are really tough and difficult, that sometimes we need to look up. Look up at the view. And we're privileged to live in this part of the world where we are surrounded by it. It's on our doorstep all of the time, and so often we're behind the steering wheel and we're not necessarily looking up and appreciating it and enjoying it. And of course, if you've been to the summit, you want to get back down, and you want to get back down to civilization as quickly as you can. We've been on the mountain for 2 months, no showers, using wet wipes. And of course, I would always forget to put my wet wipes inside my sleeping bag. Yeah, crazy environment. I never think about that. And of course, but your climbing buddies and peers are all in the same boat. We're all smelling the same. And an expedition leader on my very first expedition said to me, Ronnie, when you get back to Kathmandu and you've had a clean up and you've had a shave, everything is going to be different. Food is going to taste a lot better than it ever did. The smells are going to be more vibrant. Things are going to be brighter. The women are going to look more beautiful. And I tell you what, he was right on every front, eh? Absolutely. And this is us with our Sherpa team back in Kathmandu celebrating. I was the 7th South African, privileged to be the 7th South African on the north side. And at the time, I never got a call from Thabo Mbeki. It wasn't that important. I don't know why not. I don't know. I'm still disappointed about that. No, I kid. The interesting thing about being on Everest, there aren't no certificates. There are no medals for that activity. Sure, there's some peer pressure, there's a peer recognition, and there's some of that, but there are no certificates. But there's this wonderful restaurant in Kathmandu known as the Rum Doodle. And at the Rum Doodle restaurant, you're allowed to create your own certificate. And when you walk into the front entrance of the Rum Doodle, all the expeditions from the past have signed their names on the wall. Right in the front, Sir Edmund Hillary, Reinhold Messner, Sir Christopher Bonington, all of these incredible mountaineers, and now Ronnie Moore. Sorry, I just thought I'd throw that in there. No, but I did. I had the opportunity of actually signing the wall, which is really great. And then we created our own certificate. And this is it. But you know what the best thing about the Rum Doodle restaurant is? Is that if you have had the privilege of standing on the summit. They issue you with a card. And that card allows me to eat at the Rum Doodle for free for the rest of my life. Isn't that cool? You know, I figure that if things get really tough here in the southern part of Africa, hey man, I just got to get to Nepal, you know, and I'll give Elizabeth doggy bags, you know. But we'd survive. We would survive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I see that I have spoken for just over 45 minutes, and that's my allotted time, and you have been very, very attentive, and I really appreciate you being here. You know, I did speak to Elizabeth. She said to me, you know, the month of August, knowing the IWC, a lot of them are going to be in the UK or in other parts of the world where it's warmer, and I must say, this is a wonderful turnout. It's fabulous, and so thank you so much, ladies. My last word, just before Liliana takes over, my very last word is that I just want to leave some words with you that the Tibetans use so beautifully. They say Tashi Delek or Tashi Delek. And I want to just say those to each and every one of you. Luck be with you. Luck be with you on your journey in life, and whatever is in front of you, may it be filled with joy and blessings and abundance and all those wonderful things. Luck be with each and every one of you, and thank you for being here. Thank you.